Mike is going to start off this hour in Michigan. Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm great. Good afternoon, guys. I hope you're staying safe.
We are, sir. How about
big fan
you?
of the show. I've been following the baby steps, albeit I kind of did a little bit of a hybrid version, so hear me out if you could. I started my $1,000 emergency fund. The bank talked me into doing an extra $100 per month, so I'm at about $1,500 now. Paid off, the higher interest credit cards, and I just paid off my last one last week, actually, about $2,300. I'm debt-free. My question is, I have $13,000 left on my mortgage. I had a 15-year mortgage at 6%. And I've always kind of paid a little bit extra. And I know the next step in the baby steps is saving that 6-month emergency fund.
Yep.
Would it be smart to aggressively pay off the house and still continue slowly to the emergency fund, or
Nope.
just do the emergency fund and worry about the house later?
Nope. You get your emergency fund in place. Dude, you're living square in the middle of a freaking emergency. Have you noticed? You're in Michigan.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
I mean, you're a walking metaphor for the answer.
And I know you're right there. You're so close.
I know.
I
That's why I wanted to
promise.
call, because
The problem is it's 13,000. It's not 130,000.
Yeah, you can see it, man. I promise you.
You can reach over and smack it, but the
something's going to happen.
So
I promise you.
what is your household income?
$85,000. It's a single income.
Okay, so what is an emergency fund then? 3 to 6
I'd
months
say
of
about
expenses.
between $5,000 to $10,000. That's with the house payment. But if I get rid of that, I'm down.
Well,
much
you're going to
lower,
get rid of
obviously.
that, but okay. So
Yeah.
let's call it $10,000. How long does it take to put $10,000 aside if you have no payments but the house, which is where you are right now? You're about to achieve that. How long are you going to put $10,000 aside? How long is it going to take?
I'd probably say 6 to 8 months.
Yep, that sounds right to me. And if you can do that in 6 to 8 months, and then 6 to 8 months later, the house is paid off.
Yes.
So really, we're having a 1-year discussion right here.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't that big
I
a deal.
appreciate the answer. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
For sure.
so go
Thanks,
ahead.
guys. I greatly appreciate it.
Well, hey, and this is a value conversation, too. I want folks to, after you've paid these credit card folks, pay yourself. Like, you're worth putting money in the bank for instead of dumping stuff off. I think that's a value judgment that we often pull ourselves out of this baby steps conversation. You're worth saving for. And I don't know, man. Something's going to happen. God almighty. It'd be great to have an emergency fund. I spent too many years in crisis. My bell curve has shifted and messed over. I just, there may be a car wreck and there'd be maybe I need to go to more counseling, Dave. But, yeah, I know how hard that is to
Can you imagine the
see
hate
finish
mail
line.
we would have gotten if 6 months ago I would have said something like, a disease is coming and it's going to shut the whole nation down for a month, for 2 months.
But that's it, though.
And you need
Something's
an
gonna
emergency
happen.
fund. Instead, I said, Grandma said save for a rainy day because sometimes it rains. As a matter of fact, about all that you can predict is change.
Right.
So you need to be ready. And one lady called it the GOK fund, the God Only Knows fund. And God only knows. God only knew. Who knew that COVID was going to shut the whole place down for a period of time? And people were going to lose their jobs. And who knew you were going to feel different if you had $20,000 in the bank instead of $20,000 in credit card debt? Who knew? Common sense knew. That's who knew.
Everyone should know.
Everyone should know. But if you didn't, then this is your call. This is your wake-up call. Answer the phone. Never again.
Right.
Say never again. Never again. When I went broke, I said never again. And I never again have been without an emergency fund. I never again have used that. I was through. I learned my lesson. So the bad things happen to you, and then you learn your lesson, or you get to repeat the test.
So you've worked with millions of people. So a crisis comes, and there's two responses. One is to try to insulate yourself and never let that thing happen again, and I'm going to do that by running as fast as I can from it. And then there's something about turning the table and saying, I will absorb the next one of these that comes. You've helped millions of people. What is the characteristic, what's the character trait that someone turns around and says, I'm not going to run, I'm going to have somebody in my family die, I'm going to have a car that breaks down, I'm going to be ready when it happens. Not I'm going to run from being scared, and I'm going to run from no one that's ever going to die in my life. I'm going to run from.
So you're saying it's the same response as a different motivation. In both cases, we're building an emergency fund, but some people are doing it because they're running, and some people are doing it because they want to be ready.
Well, so let's say a pandemic comes. There's going to be a crew of people. There's going to be a crop of industry that shows up that says, never get sick from a virus again. And they're going to, chase down vitamins and workout programs and this and that. They're not going to save money. They're not going to get connected to their families. They're not going to do the thing that is going to be pandemic proof or death in the family proof or insurance didn't cover flood, whatever the thing is proof. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because in other words, you can prescribe the wrong medicine for the illness.
Yeah, it's this idea of we're going to chase the black swans, and you miss the whole point that a black swan comes and you don't know what's coming. Mm-hmm. And so you can build a resilient life, or as Taleb says, an anti-fragile life that says, come what may, I'm going to have an emergency fund. I'm going to have a community of people around me. I'm going to have a church that I rely on, or I'm just going to keep chasing down the next rabbit trail. Oh, that got me last time, so that will never get me again.
It's not that will never get me again. And that's why we say, 3 to 6 months of expenses.
Right.
And somebody says, well, I'm in the military and my wife works at the post office. We're not going to lose our jobs. Well, losing your job is only one possible emergency.
Right.
Your transmission going out and your aunt passing away across on the other side of the nation and they need you to pay for the funeral is another type of emergency.
An emergency will show up. So
something is going to come.
Have you seen a difference in a person, or does it just have to get bad enough that they're going to shift then?
Les Brown, the great motivator, says people change their lives when they say, I've had it. I've had it. And so it usually, the healthy response usually comes from a righteous anger.
Okay.
Not at yourself and not at other people, but at the concept.
Okay.
I've had it. I will never be here again. I've had it.
Right.
And, like my mother, a bunch of redneck hillbilly kids, we'd be running in and out of the house, and she would finally reach a boiling point, and she would say, that's it!
That's right.
The worm has turned! We didn't even know what that meant. Found out later it was Shakespeare. Who knew Mom knew Shakespeare? Well, all we knew was the beatings were about to begin, That's it! I've had it! And when you go, that's it, then you're ready to change your life. Never again am I going to be in a never again am I going to
be caught off guard by whatever.
By whatever. I'm not going to do that thing that way ever again.